I cannot tell you how excited I am for you to be joining me today. I have a very special guest that my wife and I, my entire family, we have high honor and high regard. You're going to enjoy this program. My guest, Chandra Wise, she has many credits to her body of work. Stay tuned. You're going to be blessed.
You're listening to WPBP 104.3 FM, The Pirate, Pearl, Mississippi.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to another edition of Defining Moments. I'm your host, Larry Nix, and blessed Thursday. Wherever you are, I am grateful that you've decided to spend 60 minutes with me. You're here every week for 60 minutes. I know you could be doing other things, but the fact that you land here, I'm not dismissive of that. I am very grateful for that. You joined me on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I hope you enjoyed our podcast on yesterday with Andy Bowie. Boy, what an incredible story! What an incredible journey! And you're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 o'clock on 104.3 FM in the Jackson, Mississippi area, the Central Mississippi area, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and all of the other major platforms, the digital platforms. I appreciate you no matter where I am. You let me know that this program, it's inspirational and it's encouraging. And for that, I am grateful because it's not about me. It's all about glorifying God, and it's all about you. And you may say, well, you don't even know who I am. Well, God knows who you are, because I hear you in the marketplace and I see you in the marketplace. I was stopped by a TSA agent a little while ago, and she said, "You're Larry Nix," and I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, it's Wednesday evening. Who's going to do your program tomorrow morning?" I said, "It's a day trip. I'll be back." And so for you, I'm grateful for that. Hello, Aunt Dean, all the way from ATL. Thank you so much. Love you. Appreciate you joining us. I'm not going to meander today. I usually take about, it's just like a preacher. Just before he preaches, he has to sing a song. He has to, and that's his way of just kind of breaking the ice and getting your attention and drawing you in and creating the atmosphere. And I normally create like a 2 or 3 minute monologue. But my guest today, I want to make sure that we have all of the time that we can get with my friend. I have the right producer today, Kim. I call her the award-winning producer today. I have the right producer sitting in the chair today. My guest is my friend. I feel so some kind of way because I have paper in front of me and I have a formal introduction, but I say to myself, I really don't need this formal introduction. But if I read her full bio, it would take 60 minutes of the program and we wouldn't have time to talk to her. So that I can stay focused, I'm going to read just an excerpt. I'm going to read just cheat sheet notes from what I put together. So for those of you that don't know her, Chandra Wise, I don't know why you wouldn't, because she's a Mississippi treasure and she's a national treasure. And I'm sure you know her name. You've probably heard some of the songs and didn't know that she wrote them or collaborated. Let me just get started. I am so excited to have her. Chandra Wise is minister of music, musician. She's a writer, radio personality, public speaker at New Jerusalem Church, that's in the Jackson metropolitan area, and a lifelong lover and student of gospel music. Chandra also hosts the Inspirational Power Hour, a weekly gospel radio show that features weekly interviews with some of the gospel most prestigious artists, including Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams, Ty Tribute, and that reaches across, and our program also reaches across genres to artists such as Charlie Wilson and more. Her show offers inspiration and hope to listeners weekly and is entertaining, informative, and uplifting. Chandra was named one of Jackson Free Press Best of Jackson in 2012-2013 and a winner of the 2022 Golden Triangle Gospel Music Award for Radio Host of the Year. Chandra is an active member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority and the Stellar Awards Gospel Music Academy. Chandra holds a BA in piano performance. Who holds a BA in piano performance? That's just how meticulous and how special she is. And an MA in choral conducting from Mississippi College. and she is the founder of the Grassroots Gospel Project. I could go on and on and on and on because her walk has been extensive. It has been deliberate. It has been celebrated. If you're in the music industry, whether it is in the gospel music industry or in the other genre, and you are serious about it, you know Chandra Wise. Chandra Wise has been a friend of mine, my family, for over 25 years. And I am delighted to know her, and I'm delighted that she would carve out some time. And when I say carve out some time, I really mean that because she's very busy. But I said, I've not had you on the program. Now, Chandra, I'm about to say something that you didn't know. So when the Lord gave me permission to launch this program, I said, Lord, there are at least 10 people that I love. I consider them A-listers. There are 10 people that I'd love to have on this program. You are one of the 10. I have 3 more to go. And I'm just working out their schedule that when they come through the jack, because these 3 now, one lives in Los Angeles, one lives in New York, and one lives in Canada. And they're working out a schedule to come to Jackson, Mississippi to be on this program. So you're one of the 10 that I said, Lord, I want to have them on the program. Not only because I am inquisitive about your walk, I celebrate your walk, but you have such a philanthropic heart, and you give and you do. She is real, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about her like she's an avatar or something, that she's an AI and she's not real. Chandra Wise, welcome to Defining Moments. Welcome to the studio. Finally.
Finally. Thank you so much, Larry. I really appreciate it. Listen, I feel as deeply about you and respect you and your family so much. Just everything that you said. First of all, I didn't know you had all that stuff that you had pulled and found somewhere.
I did, and I had to get to a place I had to stop. I'm like, I can't read all of this because if I did, I wouldn't have time to talk to her. This is not an interview. The format of my program is not an interview as a traditional news station. Put a mic. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
And I've always been intrigued by your level of professionalism as minister of music. I met you through a mutual friend of ours, Pastor Dr.
Bishop,
Bishop Dwayne Pickett, and I had the privilege of coming to the church and just seeing how enamored people were when you worshiped and the atmosphere that you set. So, for those that don't know you, I can imagine that many don't know you. First of all, where does this love and passion? We'll put a little dressing on the mannequin, if you will, figuratively speaking, but where did this love and this passion and this focus? Some folk realize I need to calm down so I can let you answer the question. I'm just so excited. I really know how to interview, okay? But I'm so excited. Some folk don't realize their purpose until they're 67, 80 years old. It seems to me you realize that early on. All right, now.
Yes.
Now let me act like I know how to interview somebody.
Okay.
Where did this passion come from?
It truly started when I was younger, being raised by my grandparents in Atala County. And that upbringing was so incredibly, for me, so unique, and even all that was purposeful. Now, growing up, we didn't have a whole lot, right? But an opportunity came. We had a new music teacher that moved to the area. He started giving piano lessons. So 3rd grade, I started taking piano lessons. And that was a sacrifice. I have to say this. That was a huge sacrifice for my grandparents to, number one, pay for those piano lessons when we were trying to make sure bills were paid, right? And then a couple of years after they saw my interest and saw, that I was doing well, they invested to buy a piano. I remember that piano was $30 a month, honey. Listen, I remember, yeah. And that was like a bill. That was a bill.
That was serious. And back in that day, $30 was a lot.
It was
like $200.
It was in addition to the lessons, right? So I have to shout out my grandparents for that. Number one, we grew up in the church, so that faith was instilled in me in an early age. And I have to shout out my grandmother, who was also an ordained Baptist minister, Mary Ann Wise.
Ordained Baptist minister.
Listen.
Back in that day. Oh, my
goodness.
She was a trailblazer then. a pioneer.
I actually, a couple months ago, actually found she's since passed, but found her certificate of ordination.
What?
And it's so amazing. Like, even on there, they had to scratch through his and put hers, like in the pronouns in certain areas, because it wasn't
Yeah,
normal,
that's right.
right?
Nor
And
was it not normal. It wasn't accepted.
I was telling someone yesterday, I remember the tears she cried when she accepted her calling, and she expected more support from pastors and ministers she knew, and she didn't get that from a whole lot of them. But yeah, she and my grandfather instilled that love for God, first of all, in me, and then as the music developed, they invested in that.
That's good.
So I found a journal, Larry, where by 12 I was playing for my church.
12.
12.
Like 1 through 3, 4, 9, 10, 11,
12.
12.
I'm playing for church. I'm choosing music. I'm running rehearsals, all that kind of stuff at 12, right? That's where it started. Probably around 14, 15, I was doing all that. But yeah, I started playing for church at 12. Yeah.
Because when I see you, I know you give effort, but it seems like you play effortless.
And I have to attribute it all to God. Because at first I was just doing the classical, the sight reading. I actually could not play by ear at first. And they were praying. They were like, Lord, we need a musician. Let her be able to play by ear.
You could not play by ear.
I couldn't.
So you're classically trained.
Yes. So it actually took a minute for me to be able to like hear what we were singing, because what I was reading in the hymnals did not match what I was hearing.
I was going to say, now you got to know your experience was not average. It wasn't normal.
Yeah.
During that era.
Yeah.
That you were classically trained.
Yeah.
You couldn't play by ear.
Yeah.
And you started playing.
Yeah.
In the church at 12 years old.
Yeah. Because I would read the sheet music to What a Friend We Have in Jesus, but I'm listening to the way we sing it in that black church. It didn't sound like that. So I was like, something's not right. There's something that's amiss here, right? And so it just took time for me to be able to really hear the way we were singing it and begin to play it that way.
So how do you? I mean, that's like an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing it in the hymnal, but you're hearing it another way.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to adjust.
I had to adjust. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know, as I continued in the classical training, I think what it did was it gave me the tools musically to be able to add the ornamentation to what I was reading so that I could deliver it the way we were singing it.
So, do you, man, I want to ask so many questions.
Mm-hmm.
So at that age, when did you decide this is what I want? This is my calling.
Gosh.
Did you determine then, or did your grandparents say, it's something inside of Chandra?
I think it was a little of both, Larry. I don't know why. I just kind of knew. And I'll share, I don't share this experience much. It's not a secret, but I just don't share it much. I would often have an experience as a child where I would be in my room practicing the piano, right? And I would hear my grandmother call me, and I would run in there, and I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "I didn't call you."
Uh-oh. Samuel and Eli. Okay, here we go.
She said, "I didn't
Samuel
call
and
you."
Eli.
And I was like, "You sure?" And it would literally sound like her voice. And so I'd go back in there, and I'm playing again. Sean, because that's what they called me. I run in there. My granddad's like, "No one called you." And we were the only three at home. And so then she was like, "Okay, I want you to take out your Bible."
Wow.
She's like, "I want you to read this." And so I did. And even still at that young age, not really understanding, right? You don't really know. And, but I just began to feel this calling on the inside of me and to know that it didn't just happen that our music teacher moved there. It didn't just happen that my grandparents were able to provide. It didn't just happen that this came so easily and naturally.
Did you ever have a desire to, as you got older
Mm-hmm.
and decided, I mean, you were in high school, late in high school, that's when you determined, okay, this is what I think I want to do. And then when you get to college, did you ever have a desire to go into another profession or another industry other than music?
Other than music, not really. Not really. Because, I often tell people I've only had one other, I guess you could say, traditional job. I worked at a store in a mall for like a year or so. Other than that, even growing up in high school, this is what I did. I didn't have to work fast food, and no shade to anybody that did, but I just didn't have to because I was playing for churches. Other churches would call me to play for revivals. I would play for, other events. Hey, can you come play for our banquet? Can you come play for this? Can you come do this? So I was able on weekends to go and do that and to make, like extra money all pretty much all through college. That's so.
So I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is it ever too late to teach someone to play music?
It's never too late.
I'm kind of hinting on to you. I'm kind of hinting, Chandra. Yeah, because I just believe. Now listen, I've just felt one day I'm just going to be sitting in church. Mm-hmm. As strange as it may seem, I just believe one day I'm going to be able to sit in church. I'm going to be sitting in church, and I'm just going to be able to go over to the organ. I visualized that, Chandra.
Have you told me that before?
I think I did.
I think you did.
I feel like I'm just going to be able to get up and go to the organ and start playing.
Listen, who knows, Larry? Who knows? Who knows?
So is it ever for someone that's listening
Mm-hmm.
or watching,
Mm-hmm.
is it ever too late that a person can learn how to play the piano or the organ?
I would not say it's ever too late. I would not say that. What I will say is that youth does give you a certain level of dexterity physically.
Okay.
And we see some of those things kind of diminish a little bit with age, but don't let that ever discourage anybody from pursuing something that they really and truly want to do. So I would say no, it's never too late.
So I know that there's instructions on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. Is that a good way to learn, or would you suggest that a person get seek out a teacher?
It depends on their level of commitment.
That's a good response. Ladies and gentlemen, Chandra Wise is my guest today. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back. So you're saying it's going to be, so thank you everybody for joining me.
Mm-hmm.
It's based upon commitment.
It's based upon commitment. If you just want to learn a couple songs, like I know people that want to learn something to play for their wife for an anniversary or something like that, So maybe YouTube to help you kind of learn. But if you want to learn the foundation and the rudiments and the basics and really build structure, I think that requires a certain level of formal training.
So
and
if a parent would suggest for their children to start,
Mm-hmm.
and they see some kind of gifting inside of them, or they'd like for them to be exposed, what would be the process? What would be a good age? What do they need to do? And which instrument would you suggest that they become familiar with first? I want you to consider that.
Okay. It depends on the child, right? So every parent knows their child.
I want you to hold that thought.
Okay.
I want you to hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought. Hey, I appreciate you joining me, everybody. Chandra Wise is my guest today. We're talking about her journey. Her journey is so compelling. It is celebrated, and she is such a gift. And so we're talking about when would be a good age, and what instrument would be a good instrument to be introduced to.
So, first of all, let me say I don't think I can give an unbiased answer. I think the piano is just great. It's one of the best, However, age-wise, I would say about 5.
5?
Yeah, to start introducing. Because this is what I would say. Introduce your kids at a young age. And I would say introduce them to a variety of instruments and see where their interests gravitate, because attention span is different, dexterity is different, growth is different, focus is different in kids, and especially today. So yeah, at 5 years old, let them start with, there are small little violins. Let them start and see if that's something they can do. Let them start and see if the piano is something they could do. Let them see if a wind instrument is something they could do, or percussion, and just see what really holds their attention the most, and go from there.
And you're right, because my grandnephew, he's the son of my niece. She introduced him to the violin when he was 6, and he started. I'm like,
yes.
But now he was at a recital this past summer. 3 years later, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes, yeah. It does take time to really build that foundation and to start with those basics and build upon that. It does take time.
So listen, I don't want to mismanage our time because I'm excited. It is like it's like you didn't need something else to do because with all of the things that you're involved in, you're on. Let's talk about your podcast first of all.
Okay.
How can people listen to your podcast?
Yeah, so the Inspirational Power Hour radio show, it airs on Sunday at 97.7. I hope I can say that.
Go ahead. We're
Okay,
friends.
okay, 97.7 here in Jackson, Mississippi. And then also it syndicates out of Nashville on YesLordRadio.com. So you
Wow.
can listen to it on Fridays and Sundays as well there. And then there are episodes that are on YouTube, Inspirational Power Hour, or you can search my name, Chandra Wise, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms.
So what is the platform of your podcast? What when I tune in, what am I going to be listening to? What can I expect?
You can expect, of course, great gospel music, right? That's our love. But then also, you're going to hear an uplifting message for the day. We share a Bible verse. We do a throwback. But then you're also going to hear interviews with gospel artists and producers. And not just that, I get a chance to talk to actors and authors and community leaders. So, yeah, just a variety of people. Like you mentioned, Charlie Wilson was on my
Oh
show
my
back
goodness! I'm like,
back in the day.
who would ever thought?
Yes, but because he's even though he's an R&B artist, he's a man of faith.
Yeah.
And that was the connection that we were able to make. And he shared his journey being sober and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a great journey.
Listen, you have a lot of tentacles. You have a lot of things going. So how long have you had this podcast?
Let's see, 14 years this year.
14 years.
The radio show, yeah.
The radio show. And you absolutely love it.
I do. And movie reviews. We've done some movie reviews lately, too, and I got another one. There's another one that's coming up really soon, so everybody stay connected about that when we're excited about that.
Well, you need to come by this program at least every quarter, to let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you score music? I mean, do you score?
Yes, I do.
Not score music, but do you score?
I do, and I was sharing with you a song that I wrote earlier this year, commemorating the 100th birthday of Medgar Evers, and we're super excited about that, and it's going to be released hopefully like the top of the year around Black History Month because it's a social justice song, right? It's inspired by him, but honestly, it speaks to anything that's happening in our society.
I was reading something,
and that will be scored soon and available. Yeah,
I can hardly wait. I was reading something earlier about why you love music, so particularly gospel music, and you said because it tells a story. It's like a testimony. Explain that.
So gospel music, just like every other genre of music, especially music from the African American community, it tells our story in America, right? So gospel music tells the story to me of those early years. It's the story of our faith. It's the moans and groans that our ancestors had when they were working in the fields. It's the cries that they had when they gathered together to release in those moments of worship. And then also out of that birthed the blues because there was a faith element of it, but those were hard times, right? And so then from there we get into if you go probably about mid 20th century, we see how those same songs are used in the civil rights movement, right? Some of those same songs, and then we also see how as the story of African Americans change, our music changes, right? And even in hip-hop tells a certain story of African Americans in America as well. So yeah, our music tells our story, chronicles our story.
So when you listen to the music today, the artists of today, do you enjoy all music? and I guess that I have to envelope it like that because some music I don't understand.
Yes. So this is what I say.
Okay.
I don't consume all music, but I respect it. Yes. So I'm not a consumer of every form of music, but I respect it as an art form. Most of it, some of it that's just not salacious and different things like that, harmful. But I definitely respect it. If that makes sense.
What it absolutely makes sense. What concerns you most about music today?
Wow.
And artists today, and you can speak to this because you're a professional.
What concerns me is the catering to mass consumption at any cost, the thoughtlessness, in some of it that is just harmful, and some of the rhetoric and some of the lyrics, And here's the thing: there is some music that tells a truth, expresses an experience, and it can be unpopular, and you don't have to agree with it. Um, and so I do respect that expression, but some of it you can tell it just seems just to like it's mocking. There's some artists out there that just mocks. They mock communities and mock other things, and so that type of stuff just really
it's only to generate money,
absolutely, yeah,
and it's very harmful to the
yeah,
community.
yeah, absolutely.
What music do you enjoy? And I'm making an assumption. It's almost like I know the answer
Okay.
before I ask the question.
Mm.
Do you enjoy writing gospel music more than any other music, or classical music, or is there a particular genre that you enjoy more of?
There actually isn't, right?
Really?
No, there actually isn't. I just like I was saying with the song that I wrote this year. I actually enjoyed taking a subject matter and building music around that. And so I've
Taking a subject matter and building music. Is that how you write?
sometimes, yeah. Like I'll have a concept in mind. Okay, I want to express this. I want it to, include these lines or different things. So yeah, sometimes I conceptualize it before I actually build the music.
So what inspires you to write?
Gosh.
Now you
The
got to
subject
know,
matter.
you got to know that you're in the chair and I'm on the couch eating popcorn or drinking Coke as I talk
Yes.
to you.
Uh,
What most inspires you to write?
the subject matter, definitely. And if we just like sticking with this song that was inspired by Medgar's life, right? Because a couple of years ago, our church celebrated 100 our 100 church anniversary, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the night that he was assassinated, Medgar actually, he was coming home.
Right.
Where he was coming home from was a meeting at our church.
I did not know that.
Yes, there was a mass meeting because a lot of mass
As
meetings.
long as I've known
Yeah.
Dr. Pickett, Bishop Pickett, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, there was a lot of mass meetings that were happening, and so our church. What happened was I was doing the research for our church history.
Was it on Raymond Road? They was
No,
coming
no, no,
over?
no, no. This was the one when we used to be on Whitfield Street downtown.
Oh, got it.
The old. There actually used to be that building was a part of the civil rights driving tour of Jackson at one
Oh,
point.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, and so I went down a rabbit hole. Just kind of, I was trying to find like a flyer or something, but I wasn't able to. But I went down a rabbit hole of Medgar's life,
Oh, my goodness.
and it just, man, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. Like, and I'm talking about, I'm reading federal and state documents of the way he was followed and phone tapped and just all this stuff, and it broke my heart. I had to just stop myself.
Did that serve as motivation for writing?
I think what happened was all of that just kind of lived with me. It just sat with me all that time, and so when the top of this year happened, and I realized, oh, this is his 100th. It was like those two things sometimes
Came together.
right? And I was like, I wanted to honor him, in the best way that I could, and that's by writing a song, and with all of that I had consumed during that research, that definitely helped to give context to to the song.
So let's talk about, and that's a great pivot to the gospel.
Yes.
The gospel project.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. Okay, songs and stories celebrating the oral traditions of early gospel music. This is an event that's happening on Friday, September the 19th at the two.
That's like next week.
Yeah, next Friday, a week from tomorrow. 2 Mississippi Museums downtown, 7 o'clock. It's a free event. Now, we are asking people to get tickets just so we can kind of gauge attendance and things like that and prepare and plan. But it's free. It's free. Tickets are not necessary. Everybody can come, but if you want to, you can get your tickets on Eventbrite. But yeah, my love for gospel music, I have always wanted to celebrate those early sounds of gospel music because that's so much of where the story started, right? You had these Africans that were brought to this country, stolen from their lands, and the languages are different. They're here and they're in this new land, and not everybody's speaking the language, and but they still had the rhythms and the sounds of the music that they brought with them, and in a lot of cases that's all they had. And from there, they began to create a sound, then emerged. And I think the thing to me that is amazing is that from that darkness, creativity still happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. because and through my research and reading even before this program, but just a part of my life, that they were singing codes actually.
Absolutely. Some of those songs, like Follow the Drinking Gourd, Wade in the Water, those were messages to just deliver certain messages. That one song, Follow the Drinking Gourd, we know that was like a certain body of stars that they would use to point north, right? And then, so yeah, it was different codes that they were expressing and delivering to each other, because they were trying to help those that desired to get to freedom. Not that they all didn't, but those that were willing, yeah, they were trying to help them.
I know I asked the question, and I'm going to circle back and ask it again, because there's a lot of contemporary music out there. Does that most concern? And I know you appreciate all of it, but does it most concern you that? And I share with you a song that my wife sent me. I'm a traditional kind of guy, traditional gospel kind of a guy. But my children are more contemporary, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I just want them to know Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think if we're not careful, if the church is not careful, if the body of Christ is not careful, we're going to lose the heritage of our music? Now, when I say our music, I'm not talking about black folk, white folk. I'm talking about the intent, the Christian intent, the gospel intent, the Jesus intent, the God intent of the music, so that it doesn't become so commercialized and socialized.
Yeah. So
and when I say that when you listen to, because I got to tell you, Chandra, when I listen to some songs, I can't tell the difference if it's playing on a rhythm and blues station,
right,
or if it's playing on a gospel station.
Right.
There's no distinct difference.
Right. And so there are a couple of things. I think that's a really loaded conversation.
Yeah.
But I think it's important.
I want you to answer that.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this is what I say. I first start off by telling this little story, and this sweet baby is so dear to my heart. I love her so much, but I have to tell this little story, right? One of my dear friends, she's younger. I think she's a millennial, I think. And I was scheduled to sing somewhere. I think I got sick or something and couldn't do it. And I asked her if she would sing for me. I was like, hey, they want Precious Lord. Can you sing Precious Lord? And she responded and said, you mean the Elvis song?
Oh, wow.
I said, no. Oh, no. I was like, I failed you. So, we were texting. I texted her back this long dissertation on who Thomas Dorsey was. And again, I think we have not just always taught that early music and taught those names of those people that helped to create this sound. And so to answer your question, I think if we don't remember it, that it could be forgotten. I really do think that.
Because I think sometimes is when I'm traveling, particularly before Sirius radio. Now I only listen to that when I'm traveling and I'm driving. Because before, I would be driving 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and when you're driving, you listen to radio. One, you fade out of one signal, you can go into another signal. And 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I would be listening to music, and sometimes I would hear what I'd be listening to gospel station on AM radio in some communities. I love that. Catch a good AM station. But I would be listening to a gospel station, but the music on the gospel station in the latter days recently, it doesn't sound like gospel music. It just sounds like a love song.
It sounds like a love song, yes. So, wow, that is a bigger conversation. And going back to Thomas Dorsey, he originally started as a blues musician. His name was Georgia Tom, and he played with Ma Rainey and some other blues.
Okay.
Other blues.
Okay.
This is some of the information y'all gonna get next Friday, right?
Okay.
So when he began to play and write gospel music, he brought those influences from the blues sounds into it, right? And so it was too bluesy for the church at that time. And there were actually instances, and of course, he was singing with Mahalia Jackson. They would go on tour, and they would, share their music. There were some churches that they were banned from singing in because the music sounded too worldly. Thomas Dorsey and Mahalia Jackson. These are the standards that we define the gospel music sound, right? So I said that to say, did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I said that to say, and I remember my professor in graduate school told me this at one point, because the same thing happened in classical music as well. You know, you had your sacred music that a lot of the nobility would commission from the composers, and if it sounded too worldly, they would reject it as well. And so my professor just said, you know, the ear will always reject what's not familiar to it. You know.
Oh, that's powerful. Slow
Yeah.
down. Say that. Say that one more time.
Your ear always will initially reject what's not familiar to it, because every generation has a point at which it stops and be like, oh, that's not real music. You know, oh, that's not real music. That happens every generation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. One second.
Okay.
1 second. Hey, listen, thank you so much for joining me. My guest today is Chandra Wise. She is the founder, with all of the other, work to her credit. She is founder of Grassroots Gospel Project. We're talking about the influence of gospel music in all other genre of music. Mm-hmm. I remember watching the program Ray, as in Ray Charles, and he was being thrown out of a club because the people that came in the club protesting, saying that his music sounded too much like gospel, or that it had the gospel influence on some of the blues or some of the genre of music he was playing. But you were saying before coming in the break, what?
I was saying that, first of all, I say this, gospel and blues, they're cousins musically. If you look at the musical makeup of the style and the harmonies and the melodies and the structures of it, musically they're cousins, because it was birthed out of the same era, just the content matter was different. One expressed faith, the other expressed their woes and their blues.
And that's powerful. And even if you watched his documentary, he even admitted that his influence came from gospel music,
Absolutely.
old gospel music.
Absolutely. You know, and here's the thing. So much of it really started in the church. And you have, like I was saying, you have a lot of secular artists that came out of the church. And even in some cases, you have gospel artists that may have started in secular, like with Thomas Dorsey.
Yeah.
He started as a blues artist, you know.
And I didn't know this. My mother, bless her, she's 96.
Oh.
And so, boy, she's history herself. And we sit and we listen to her. But she said that Ethel Waters was a blues singer prior to becoming a great gospel singer and touring with Billy Graham. And Elvis Presley even said a lot of his influence.
Listen.
Elvis Presley did. Said a lot of his influence came from the gospel arena.
There's a group that I've been listening to just nonstop. A lot of those early quartet groups, which, you know, if you know this, even barbershop harmonies came out of like the spirituals.
Wow.
Yeah, the harmonies of it. So you have the Golden Gate Quartets, you have the Mills Brothers, you have some of those early groups that started like in 1930s ish. So I've been listening to a lot of their music, and what I found was Elvis did record some of their arrangements like in the 50s and stuff. Yeah.
And not only him, but I'm going back now. Now you're toggling my memory. Dean Martin, he recorded some of the Mills Brothers.
Yes. And those early artists don't always get the credit. Here's another one. If you look at the, remember the one gospel artist album that Aretha did, right?
Yes.
The old one where she's, you know, singing in the churches live. She did Amazing Grace. James Cleveland is on the piano, right?
Wow, that's right.
If you look at that live video, you'll see there in the audience a young Mick Jagger.
Wow.
And his bandmates standing on the back row at that church. I believe they were in Chicago. But you know, so our music has always influenced other genres.
So I remember years ago when he was living, Pastor C.L. Franklin had Aretha Franklin to come up and sing, and she sang Amazing Grace. And people were astounded. They gave her a standing ovation. He took the mic back and said, Aretha never left the church. She's always been in church.
Absolutely.
And church influenced her music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So much of it.
So is this what people are going to be exposed to next week?
Oh, absolutely.
I just did that to set all of that up. 'Cause
Absolutely.
This is fascinating.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Our history is so rich. And again, those early artists their names are not always remembered and spoken and celebrated, but they absolutely laid the foundation and the framework for so much that we are still expressing and experiencing and consuming today.
So it is the Grassroots Gospel Project,
Yeah.
and the event will take place.
Next Friday,
Give us more information.
yes,
man.
Friday, September the 19th at 7 o'clock p.m. at the 2 Mississippi Museums, downtown Jackson, Mississippi. It's free. There are tickets on Eventbrite, and we're just trying to make sure we have enough seating for everybody, like I told you earlier.
So what is the capacity?
The capacity, oh my goodness. Listen. It's changing, Larry. It's changing.
This is exciting. Well, first of all, it's exciting for several reasons.
Mm-hmm.
At least a couple being, number one, you're hosting it.
Mm-hmm.
It's your brainchild, baby. All right, and your credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then, fact of all, this is exciting.
It's
very intriguing.
It is. And let me say this too. Shout out to the Mississippi Arts Commission.
Let me see a copy of that.
Yes, the Mississippi Arts Commission. We did receive a mini grant.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. We did receive a mini grant from the Mississippi Arts Commission through the National Endowment of the Arts to help support this event. So we're excited about that, as well as other funding as well to help. So that support has been incredibly.
So people that are streaming live right now, this is the QR code.
Yes.
So what does this QR code go to?
It goes to the Eventbrite link where they can get their tickets.
Okay.
And it's also on my page as well. I'm going to share it again once we're done. It just takes you to the Eventbrite page. So we're going to have some treats there. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be educational. It's going to be uplifting. It's going to be enriching. It's going to be inspiring. Yeah. It's going to be
So
a good
what
thing.
motivated you? What motivated you to found Grassroots Gospel Project again?
Just realizing how much this generation really they have not been exposed to those early sounds. Even when we've been rehearsing some of the music, and earlier this year, I taught a song that I grew up singing, right, to our choir, and no one knew that song.
No?
None of them knew. I was like, "Are y'all serious?" They're like, "No, we've never heard this." So there's so much music that we grew up with, and because it was just passed down orally, some of these things may not have been recorded. It's being forgotten if we don't. Yeah.
So what
keep it alive.
what are some of the challenges when you have people joining your choirs?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the challenges?
Let's see. Some of the like musically.
Yeah, is it their lack of understanding the background of music, or singing in harmony, or
It just depends. There can be a couple of challenges. Yeah, not always being exposed to a certain, because here's the thing, singing gospel music in its pure form. Listen, honey, you can't passively sing that.
Yeah.
Because it's such a deep emotional release. It requires a certain level of power to deliver it and deliver it well. Whether that's in church or whether that's on a stage. And so always getting people to kind of like tap into that collectively so that we can deliver it.
All right,
well.
so I'm getting some free lessons here. All right, so when you sing, I've always heard people say, "Larry, sing from your diaphragm."
Okay.
What does that mean?
Okay, I think
As opposed to singing from your throat.
Yeah. So it's not literal. What it's meant to do is to help you feel the sensation of engaging a low, like a pedagogical breath, a low breath, and low support.
Hold on. Now you went in deep water
Yeah.
with me on that.
Yeah.
Now, that's deep.
Yeah. So and so it's not literal because you can't really literally sing from. But what they're saying is they want you to engage the lower muscles in order to support the tone, so that you're not just kind of singing from here or your throat or your nose or something, but it's coming from a deeper support system.
Is there such a thing as a natural born singer,
Oh,
as opposed to? So can you be trained to become a good singer?
Both. Yeah, both. It's both, and there are some singers that might have never had a lesson, but they just got it.
They just got it.
You're
one of those it.
Well,
you are one of those it.
But
me, I need a whole lot of. I need I need like singing 10:10. Starting at 101 and going to 10:10.
But yeah, so but I think training just always helps. It never hurts. A good friend of mine who is a very accomplished opera singer, he has a vocal coach and a voice teacher still, but because you need that, because like it's like a trainer. It helps keep your voice in good singing condition, because you can't afford to go out there in bad voice if that's
Yeah.
how you make your pay check.
That's right.
And to help keep it conditioned and all that kind of stuff, you need that coaching support system around you.
I'm not going to get you in trouble, but
Yeah.
I'm curious. Out of all of the some of the great singers
Okay.
from any era, so that I keep you out of trouble,
Uh-huh.
who would be like
Wow.
within the top 5?
Oh,
I mean,
great
as a singer,
singers?
male, female. All right, so I'm going to get you started.
Okay.
All right, and then so you'll know what direction I'm going.
Okay.
in. For instance, some would say Whitney Houston.
Absolutely.
All right. So who else would you say in that era or not or before?
Oh my goodness, Larry! Just like incredible vocalists.
Like wow.
Wow.
And another. All right. So now let me give you another one of my favorites.
Okay.
Yolanda Adams.
Yolanda Adams, absolutely. Vocalist. That's a hard one.
And I don't want to get you in trouble
grade,
because you know a lot of these.
I do. I grade. It just depends.
You grade.
And by different things, whether it's delivery, whether it's live in studio is different. Some artists are great
Really?
on the stage.
It's different in studio than it is on stage.
Some artists are amazing in the studio, but then on stage, I get a little sleepy.
Really?
I'm just saying.
Why is that?
It doesn't always. I mean, studio singing and studio musicianship is a different skill set.
I didn't know that.
It's a different skill set, yeah. And so that stage presence has to be developed. And we're in the era where like A&R, which is like artist development, we don't have that as much over the last decade or so. And so that
you just kind of throw you out there.
exactly, because you think about what Clive did with Whitney, he developed her. Right.
I saw something the other day, man. He I don't know at what age, but it seems like they started tracking her when she was like 12 years old.
Absolutely. And he didn't just release a song and throw her out there. He developed everything about her charisma, her etiquette, her, public speaking, like all of these things are developed in addition to the voice and the delivery. And, she naturally had it. Absolutely. But yeah, all of those things.
I'm not trying to give you something else and call you Miss Jamaican, but no. 15 jobs. But have you, and you probably already do, but do you dabble into artist development?
No.
No,
I don't have the patience.
I got it.
Listen, we got to know our strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen. Doing interviews for 14 years, I could tell you some stories.
Really?
Hallelujah.
Some folk you're like, thank you, Lord, that I'm able to make through this interview.
Absolutely.
Because there's I'm sure that there are some would-be artists out there that are probably special, aren't they?
They have not had that development. So when they're doing an interview and I say, hey, tell me about the song you just wrote. Well, I wrote it, and
you're like, oh, here we go.
It's like, okay, we got to pull teeth with this one. We got to pull teeth. But but then you have others that they are so passionate about it that you got to stop them.
You got to stop them.
Yeah, and so my patience level with that is just and I'll give coaching if I feel like they're open to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that you can tell like, how did I do? Do you have any feedback for the next time? And in that case, I'll be like, yeah, next time do this. Da, 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 da.
And I get that. I get that. But you have patience because you, do you still mentor and do you still teach? Do you still provide private lessons?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
Well, I guess I'm done then. Because I was going to say, boy, I'm going to give myself a Christmas gift. In fact, I was going to tell Carla to give me a Christmas gift, send it to, and get a gift certificate from Chandra.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So you don't provide private lessons anymore?
I haven't done that in a while. My last time doing that was around the time when COVID first started. But I haven't done any in a while.
It's just too much.
It's such a time commitment, and the commitment from the student or the parent may not always be there. And so if they're showing up and have not practiced or have not rehearsed or don't want to be there, it's, after a while, it's just kind of wasting time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I heard someone say earlier today that when I was driving over to the studio, they said the best gift that you can give yourself is to invest your time wisely.
100%. And so when I ask myself what's the best use of my time, I have to kind of make some decisions.
I'm grateful that you would schedule me. And not
Larry.
that you wouldn't, because you've always been very kind to me and my family. but I know how busy you are, and then you have this event that's right next door that's coming up on you. I'm going to show it again. So
Yes.
if people can support this,
Yes.
is there an opportunity for them to support it financially? Is there an
Absolutely.
opportunity for them
Yes.
to get involved? What are your needs?
So, yes, our needs, if they want to support financially, that would be such a blessing. And there's a link that I can share, and I'll share it on my page once we're done, where people, if they want to give, they can give. And we have had supporters to just randomly give toward the project because, of course, like I said, we got some funding, and we're incredibly grateful for that, for the 2 Mississippi museums, for the Mississippi Arts Commission, for the National Endowment for the Arts, but it doesn't cover everything, right? And we got big dreams and big aspirations around here.
Speaking of that, is this the first annual?
Yes, it's the first, and first, hopefully, of many.
That's what I'm saying.
More events to come.
So this year's not like I'm one and done.
No.
I just believe this is your excitement and your passion. Of course, anything that you've wrapped your arms around, you've been very passionate about it, and you've done it with the level of excellence. But this is the first of hopefully.
Absolutely. There's going to be music to be released. There's going to be it's a lot. It's a lot coming. We're excited about it.
Chandra, you've been holding back. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for my friend, our guest, Chandra Wise, on Defining Moments. So when I come, what am I to expect? Just kind of run me through the day.
You can expect once you get there to have an experience. I don't want to give too much.
No, don't give too much.
Yeah.
No, don't give too much. But you said a mouthful just that.
Yeah.
You can expect to have an experience.
It's going to be an experience. And I will say this, it's a journey. It's going to be a musical journey from beginning to now, and we're giving that history, we're giving that context in between the songs. So it's called Songs and Stories because that's what you're going to get.
Am I going to leave crying, or am I going to leave celebrating? Am I going to leave
a little of all of it, Larry? A little.
So
of all of it.
You're aiming to touch emotions.
Absolutely.
To educate,
like I said, to enrich. Let me tell you what's really been beautiful about this is that people that I believe have a genuine interest in this subject matter has found us, and it hasn't been hard to do.
Repeat that again. Hold on. All right. So, thank you for joining us. Your podcast. Let's talk about your podcast.
Yes.
Your radio program.
Inspirational Power Hour. It airs on Sundays, 6 to 10 on WRVJ 97.7 here in Jackson. And also on Friday, it syndicates on YesLordRadio.com. On Fridays, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m., and then again on Sundays.
Do you ever sleep?
I do.
Because I know you're part of 4 different worship services on Sunday with our friend.
Listen, I'm incredibly grateful that I have an amazing support system around me that help to nurture me and hold me accountable for balance. We know balance doesn't happen all the time, right? It ebbs and flows. But I definitely have I take the time to take care of myself when needed. Yeah.
And that's important.
Absolutely.
That's important with its calling. So we're talking about that night. What are people to expect?
Yes.
And you were sharing.
I was sharing that when they come in.
Without giving too much.
We have some I'll say some visuals that people will be able to experience to kind of help to immerse them in this period in time. So we're excited about that. And then the presentation, it's a musical journey from beginning to end. We have some surprise singers that are going to be joining us and singing some of this music. And yeah, we're it's amazing.
Do you enjoy singing more than playing, or playing more than singing? Which one do you enjoy the most?
Oh, my gosh.
Is there such thing?
I don't know that there is. I think it just depends. Playing for me, it's more therapeutic at times because it always connects me with my foundation.
So do you go in your melancholic moment, do you go to your room and just start playing?
Sometimes.
Just melodies, just from one to another?
And it just depends on what mood I'm in. But yeah, not just the melancholy moments, the happy moments as well. You know, I was on the phone with my friend the other day, and I don't know, we were laughing about something. I got on the piano and started playing over whatever we were talking and laughing about. You know, so it's such a release and such an expression. And it connects me with my foundation. It connects me with my who, and it connects me with my why.
Connects you with your who and connects you with your why. Okay, I have a couple of questions before the end of the program. You got to come back. You'll come back next time you come in on the podcast.
Yes.
So we're talking about how can one What's the difference singing with your throat or singing with your diaphragm? And you're explaining the difference.
Yeah, it's the support and the placement and a lot of that in
Is there a
training.
way that a person can train?
That's what I was going to say. With training, you learn to be able to become sensitive to those physical sensations and how to place where to place the breath support and where to place the your placement, your vocal placement, and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah,
So singing is more than just
Oh, my Lord, yes.
blaring out words.
Yes, Lord.
Blaring out lyrics.
Yes, Lord.
So by your reaction, there are occasions that you probably have said, "Oh, he or she did that."
Oh, absolutely.
And then there are occasions you're like, I'm underwhelmed by that.
What is
Yes, right. Okay, move on.
What did Aretha say? Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. But yeah, you asked me about singing. It's hard to just say favorite singers.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a couple of people that I'm listening to
Okay.
right now on repeat.
Okay.
Jason Nelson is such an amazing vocalist. Also, a couple of people that I don't think people really know about just yet. Gene Moore. Now, he is one of my favorite voices.
Whoa.
Gene Moore. Daryl Walls is amazing. Jonathan McReynolds, and I'm naming all men. I got to name some women in a minute, but and also there's a young man, Lawrence Flowers, who I love. I believe he's out of Atlanta, but vocally he is insane.
So
Yeah.
your involvement with the Stellar, that provides you touch points with the variety of artists, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Stellar Award celebrated their 40th anniversary last month in Nashville. I got a chance to go and attend. And leading up to that, I got a chance to actually interview Dr. Don Jackson, who's the founder of the Stellar Awards.
Wow.
Interview him on my show, and he was so gracious. He's been on the show a couple times. And so, yeah, just got a chance to really talk about what 40 years celebrating gospel music, the gospel music industry has looked like.
A couple of things. Number one, again, how can people support?
Yes.
How can people support the gospel project?
So once we're done, if they go to my Facebook page, I'm going to leave a link where people can share, people can support. If they would like to, they can follow us. I'll leave that link as well as the link to share and support as well, our efforts. Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to be morbid,
No.
but I'm always curious. I'm always fascinated with talented people as yourself. What would you want to have accomplished
Yes.
in life when the Lord says, you're done, Chandra. You're done.
Let me tell you, earlier this year, I really made up in my mind that when I leave, I want to leave completely empty, right?
Me too.
And so that's one reason why I'm doing all of this, because these are all ideas and things that I've had for so long but might have never done anything with it. Because you're like, oh, will people be interested? Will people care? Listen, I told you before, the tickets went. We added more. Tickets went again. We just added more yesterday. And people were emailing me, can I get another ticket? So, I want to leave empty. I want my legacy to be that I have helped to forward the genre of gospel music, help to preserve it and to celebrate it, and help to honor the artists and the creatives that make it, that I've contributed to it in a positive way, that I've contributed to the world in a positive way, that everything that God has placed in me, that I have left it not only for the world but also for my family to remember as well.
You didn't rust out. You left with it all on the table.
Absolutely.
If you were to take the last 10 seconds to encourage people to give of themselves, how would you encourage them?
I would encourage everybody to, number one, always remember your why. When you stay connected to your why, it will push you to be able to give and to remember that God has not placed us on this earth to be selfish, but to really, really to live out our purpose. So I would just tell everybody, remember your why and let that drive everything else that you do.
Chandra Wise, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness. She is an author. She's a songwriter. She ministers music. She's founder of the Grassroots Gospel Project, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But most of all, she's my friend. Thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on Defining
Hey, my
Moment.
name is Kyle Reno, Senior Pastor at Cross Gates Baptist Church. Here's a defining moment from this last Sunday.
You've heard this said 1,000